Hey guys, so we have match 8, so it's the second last match of the season. It does start a little dicey, but I think we turn it around and we do some really fun stuff again. Yeah, so I'll explain it all in the voiceover and you can have a look and see what happens, but it's pretty interesting, and then we can discuss what happens. All right, so my opponent for this match is the Bitter Cup. He is 8.4 million GP, so a tiny bit bigger than my roster. He's got 4 Galactic Legends there, so missing Sith Eternal and Lord Vader. So we do have the 1 extra there on him. And then, of course, we've got the lovely Starkiller with 2 Omicrons. So I wasn't too sure what to expect with Starkiller because it wasn't in his history. So I'm pretty sure this is fairly new, but I didn't know if he would keep it on offense or defense or what the deal was there. And I, unfortunately, as you can see, he's already attacked me. I did not get to change my defenses this match. So ships are the exact same as how I usually do them. There was a massive internet service provider outage in Canada. I couldn't even get into the game for several hours. So there were no changes being made, unfortunately, in this Grand Arena matchup, which is unfortunate because I did want to change a couple of things. But it's pretty much the exact same as the match before. And yeah, for that reason, like I said, I couldn't get in there and do what I wanted to do, which was also add Kenobi. But I'm not going to complain. So he's obviously managed to full clear me, and we need to get through his Bugs and Grievous up top, this BAM team, and then a Rey squad as well with a Datacron. Okay, and then in his bottom zone, so we obviously have Rey up top. This is the main thing to keep in mind. Bottom, we've got a Zam-led Bounty Hunter team, Darth Revan, Maul, and Mon Mothma. So like I said, I wasn't too sure what to expect in the back, especially with Starkiller being new. So I didn't really know for sure how I wanted to attack this bottom zone. Obviously, we need to get rid of Rey as well on the top, so I'm keeping that in mind at the same time here. But I figured that Wampa here could be fun, maybe. I was doing these at work, so I was a little bit rushed. And it was also the only place with internet that was working. So I figured Wampa would kind of work here. I was hoping I could get some counters rolling and take out Kyle and Kara. And then they kind of just kept rolling, and it wasn't really countering, which is really a piss off, to be honest with you. I just wanted to smack them down, and Wampa wasn't doing that, unfortunately. And then, of course, Kara just comes back with her potency up buff, so it's a little bit annoying. So here, I mean, I was already worried, and then I really worried. Yeah, so obviously did not work, and now they're preloaded, which is fan-freaking-tastic. And I need to sit on that before I tilt, basically. So we are going to go to the next one. I'm going to leave Mon Mothma alone for a minute here. Because, to be honest with you, I just don't want to tilt on it. I know that I'm going to use my troopers on his Darth Revan. Even with HK there, it's still relatively doable. You just want to make sure you don't use Range's Stomp until HK is out of the picture. But I was pretty confident with this going into it. I've gotten a lot more comfortable countering Darth Revan with my trooper team. So that is kind of been my go-to. And then when HK is there, I do try to take him out as soon as possible, just so that I can, start using more of the specials, especially ranges, and I don't have to worry about clicking it by accident or anything like that. Anyway, so it seems to be fairly straightforward. I wasn't too worried. And then I do want to get the mass assist on Malak, and then we can just punch Darth Revan here to death. Perfect. So feeling a little bit better once things are getting back on track, even with the Mon Mothma disaster that has happened. But because I feel like I've gotten one battle in that hasn't, you know, gone sideways like that one. I feel kind of okay. So we're going to go back in with Mon Mothma. I did decide to use my CLS team here. I forgot to hit record before the battle started. And I figured this was the best case because they were loaded with turn meter. And I really did not want to have to waste a Galactic Legend. So I figured this would be kind of the best case scenario, even though it is using my CLS team. And I could kind of just hopefully pull it out even with the turn meter load on them, which clearly was the right call. Did not have to burn a Galactic Legend, which was what I was worried about. And then we can kind of focus on the rest of the teams here and get going. Okay, so for the next one, I figured I would go after Maul. I was trying to plan out what I was going to do here, especially with the other teams on the board that I could see. And I thought maybe Bounty Hunters could work, especially because Armor and Sabine are a little bit lower geared. I was kind of thinking this would be the best case scenario. I went with Aura lead just because of Maul's leadership ability, making that taunt bounce around. I knew it would be a pain to target the weakest character with Bosk lead. So I figured taking Aura here would be the right call so that I could get their contract as quickly as possible and hopefully have Mando delete somebody and just kind of make my way through the team after that. So obviously I want to taunt with Bosk just so I can kind of keep everybody relatively alive. And then I figured I would just, you know, get as many hits in as possible. Contract is already there and Maul was available for deletion. So he died. He died a quick and painless death that he may or may not come back from. So the rest of it just kind of worked itself out. Like once Maul was out of the picture, it wasn't really super scary, to be honest with you. I really love having this team available on offense, and it's just so much fun. And the fact that I did manage to clock them like bang on when I did my roster remod is really awesome, and I'm really happy with that. So definitely recommend keeping them on offense. I know a lot of people stick them on defense, and I think they're just so versatile that like just having them in your back pocket is a great thing. So that being said, we now have to fight some bounty hunters. So Zam lead, I don't see this often. I think this is the second time I've seen it. But I figured here that I would just take Grievous. So like I said, I was at work when I was doing this and I was distracted. And as soon as I hit battle, I realized that I might have wanted to keep my Grievous team in case Starkiller was in the back. My only saving grace is that I have 2 Galactic Legends available, but I was a little bit frustrated that I did this. But I think this was honestly the right call. I was just going to spread target lock around, hopefully to kind of slow them down. And then I wanted to get Zam out if possible to remove her Omicron from the picture. And then hopefully go for, honestly, whoever was available. I do typically try to go for whoever is going to take a turn next in a team, if I can. Or whoever is the scariest in terms of damage output, like Fennec. But usually I just go based off turn meter so that I can always just keep taking turns. So this worked really well. I actually was nervous about Grievous here. I didn't know if it would work okay, but I was pleasantly surprised. And yeah, so we managed to clear the front zone. Only one speed bump, one hiccup with Mon Mothma. And now we can have a look and see what's in the back here for us. So we have a Dash Omicron-led team, which is interesting and kind of scary. Padme, and then Qui-Gon. Yeah, so I'm not totally sure what I want to do here, but we're going to figure it out. Alright guys, so obviously the scariest team up top is Rey, so I am going to go straight for her, and I am going to use my Kenobi team. I'm just a lot more, I don't want to say a lot more comfortable with Kenobi against Rey versus Jedi Master Luke, but it honestly just feels like the easier option and the smarter option. Okay, so obviously we can't delete Rey, but Finn is the next best option there, to be honest with you. So the fact that Holdo wasn't taunting was really great in our favor. And then, of course, these whirlwinds are a little bit dangerous. I do want to go and hit Rey as much as I can, just to kind of knock everyone around. She's in her damage immunity now, which is great. She put herself there. So once she takes her next turn and cleanses that, I'll be able to snipe her out, hopefully. But in the meantime, we're just going to hit everybody else. So we're going after Holdo next. And now we've got her ultimate coming up, which is a little bit scary. Especially once your characters start getting hit a little bit here and you're losing out on your protection, you know she's probably going to do some serious damage. So we're just waiting this out and managed to survive it. She obviously already went in to her damage immunity, so we're just going to go straight for her and hopefully hit her and kill her before she manages to whirlwind again, which, perfect. So now we're just going straight for everybody else. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too fancy here. And then we will be good to figure out the rest of this top zone and what the hell we're going to do. Because we do have to full clear. Like, it's mandatory. So, because we have to full clear, I now have a Grievous team I need to figure out. And I don't have Wampa available for me. And this BAM team I need to figure out. BAM, I decided that the best option here that would also let me take care of Grievous would be to do Jedi Knight Revan. And I was really torn here because I did not know if I should do Jedi Knight Revan here or on Grievous. And I figured this would be the safer call. I just want to get rid of, well, to be honest with you, I want to get rid of BAM right away, but I also want to get rid of Fuzzy Han here. I don't want him trying to revive anybody, even though there aren't any rebels here, but he's going to be a pain. He can revive, realistically, if I'm remembering his kit correctly, he's going to revive them anyway, even if they're not a rebel, they'll just have less health. So I just wanted him out of the picture. And then obviously I want to get rid of BAM as quickly as possible, and he's ready to pop off with some whistling birds here, which makes me nervous. And we can't get to him with IG taunting, which is annoying as fuck. So birds go off. Thankfully we did have foresight up, so we were relatively prepared for it. The irony facing a smuggler team of being prepared. But IG is still taunting and making life really, really effing miserable. All right, so now we want to get rid of BAM, and he's gone. And then I honestly wasn't sure if I should go for IG or Quill. And I think maybe I should have gone for Quill a little bit earlier here. So IG obviously is just taking all of the hits and being a pain. So we're going to switch and hopefully we can just chew through this and not time out on Nest, because Nest is going to be a pain as well. All right, so pretty straightforward. I'm going to speed this up, I think. All right, so again, the taunt there is just killing us. I really want to get rid of Quill, so we're just going to mark him. And this should do it, although Yoda's looking a little sad. And now we can start getting rid of IG here. And then Nest, we're going to save Nest for the bitter end, which should be okay because of Jedi Knight Revan's leadership. We shouldn't have an issue here with her gaining her protection. Because he's just gonna, his leadership is just going to negate all of this. And it won't matter. And you can see like her health bar and protection bar changing, which is just fantastic. So She's dead, 64. We're quite happy. Now we just need to figure out the last two teams. Like I said, Grievous is there to give me all of the problems. And honestly, I'm going to ignore it for now because there is nothing quite like ignoring the problems in your life. But I figured Qui-Gon here would be a lot of fun. And we would just AoE and hopefully kill all of the bugs in one shot. And it would be tons of fun, and then we could go kill Grievous afterwards. So I've done this once. It was on a lower gear Geo team. And it worked really nicely. So I figured it might work again here. So now we just AoE, and almost all of them died. So the first time that one other time I did it, they all died because they were all low geared. So honestly, this was worthwhile just for the fact that most of the team was dead and now they can't really do anything. So 65 with Qui-Gon, which is fantastic. He usually dies and ruins your banners. But now we have this Grievous team. So like I said, I'm really annoyed that I don't have Wampa here. And I'm super annoyed that I have to do this, but I think this is the only way I'm gonna get through Grievous without giving myself more trouble than it's worth. So I have to do this. Like I really don't know what else I can do with what I have that will let me get through in one shot. So this was the best call that I could think of at the time with what I had left. So really straightforward. I'm going to also speed this one up. I do eventually like using Luke here because when you do get your ult, you're able to just ignore the mark that Grievous puts out on everyone. It just, wasn't happening as quickly as I had wanted it to happen. And then, of course, Grievous just kind of keeps going, and we're looking a little bit sad on Ayla's health pool there. It's making me a little worried, but I was hoping that eventually we would just be able to ignore that marked, but Grievous is not having it. And Ayla's dead. So we're not going to get the best banners here, but it is going to be a one shot, which is really what I wanted. I didn't want to make a bigger mess than necessary. So Grievous is going to die any second here, and we will be good. So 60 banners because Ayla is dead, but not as awful as I could have had it go if I hadn't used Luke. So we now need to see what ships we have to deal with. I have to full clear. So we have Thrawn, Finalizer, and Rebels. So no Executor. He kept his Executor for offense. And then we have this back zone. And I now don't know what to do against Qui-Gon because I don't have my Galactic Legend to nullify his Omicron. I don't have Bounty Hunters anymore. So I'm kind of just going to ignore him for now because I need to kind of think of something to do there. Okay, so I realized I was on the wrong team there when I was selecting. I actually wanted to go after Padme because I knew I was going to use my Sith triumvirate here and just kind of hope that they could take the barrage. I like to stick Shore Trooper as my sacrificial lamb with them just for his pre-taunt, and then, isolate Padme and kind of do my own, slowly work my way through them, especially because it really is just Cody and Clone Sarge. Chewie is pretty weak here. The most annoying thing, honestly, is probably going to be R2 with his smoke screen and his stuns and his burning and all of that. Even though we are going to be able to cleanse them because of Treya's leadership, it's still going to be annoying, especially his smoke screen not being able to target who we want. But we are just going to get through it it's pretty straightforward. Shore Trooper almost always dies in this for me just because he is such low gear. And he is really just a sacrificial lamb, like I said, for the initial barrage, and then we can make our way through. So I figured I would get rid of Padme there while I could, and then the rest of it would just kind of go from there. I wanted to fracture R2 because he was being super annoying and a pain in my ass with his smoke screen. So we're just going to work on the clones for now while he's fractured. Shore Trooper is going to die here. That's fine. Like I said, he always dies. I don't think I've ever won a match with him here where he hasn't, just because he's so low gear. But that's okay. That's what he's there for. I'd rather him die than Nihilus or Thrawn. So, slowly chewing through it. Honestly, like, it seems pretty straightforward. And then we can just kind of get through Cody here, hopefully, and figure out what we're gonna do with the rest of it. So I'm gonna pass the turn back to Nihilus, which will also give, I was hoping to get some of the protection banners back from that, and then Cody just kind of ruined my plans there. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but 58, not amazing really, but it's done and dealt with, so that is great. And then I figured I would go after this Dash team, and I wasn't too sure what would work on Dash and what would work on Qui-Gon with what I had left, but I really wanted to try my First Order here because I do have the Omicron on First Order TIE Pilot. I genuinely have no idea if this will work. But I figured it was worth a shot, and then I could see what else I could do after the fact. So no one taunts in this lineup, which meant that I could go straight for Vandor to kill. I wanted to remove the turn meter from Dash just so that he wouldn't AoE me. But then I was going to go straight for Vandor here and get rid of him. Hopefully, if I could, just to prevent the revives on the rest of the team with him not there. And then now, I honestly feel like I can go for Dash. I genuinely wasn't super sure. I figured Dash would probably be the next scariest option. So I did decide just to go for him because of his AoE. And then, honestly, I was pretty surprised with this First Order team. They seemed to handle it pretty well, and it's this Omicron with them having Foresight is great here because they're countering and they're doing multi-hits, which are really only one hit because of Foresight. So it's a little bit more survivable. Even with Phasma dying, honestly, I was pretty surprised. Anyway, so it's just down to Kira, pretty straightforward. She's gonna die, and that's that. So again, 58 seems to be a trend. But I was really surprised. Like, I genuinely had very little faith going into this battle that this would work. So really happy it did. And now we have this Qui-Gon team. So I have to full clear. I know I've said that a few times. This is all I'm thinking about right now, is that I have to full clear. Even if I multi-shot this Qui-Gon, I just need to kill it. So my thought here was to use my bounty hunters. I didn't know if this would be a good idea or not, but I figured if I could use my bounty hunters here, I could try to take out Qui-Gon, hopefully like ignore Mace's taunt or whatever, and rocket Qui-Gon if I could. And of course they have so much speed and just hit so hard, so this was ridiculous. And then like he's just right there, so I figured I would try it and it worked. So like I said, I was really happy to have to multi-shot this as long as I could chew through it. I did not care if it was going to be a multi-shot, and I expected it to be a multi-shot. So Qui-Gon's dead, which is exactly what I wanted. That was the goal. And then now I just have to clean this up, and they don't have his Omicron ability anymore, so it's significantly less scary. And I thought for fun, maybe I could kill them with Plague. Like, I wasn't too sure what I had left that could actually chew through Cam and Anakin. And then, of course, Ayla's going to stun you. So it was this whole thing. And I was like, well, maybe I can just plague them to death. And so that's what I went with. So we took Talzin lead just because I feel like it is a little bit more survivable in case they were to kill me. I could bring them back. But yeah, I wanted to just kind of go after whoever. Anakin obviously is in my opinion, other than Cam, him and Cam are probably equally scary. Anakin was making me a little bit worried only because of his AoE here. But I wanted to get rid of him as quickly as I could, which is great. He's gone. And then we could get rid of Cam, get rid of his bonuses he's doling out to the team as well from his unique. And then from there, it was really straightforward. I mean, I wanted to pull Foresight off them, so obviously everything would stick. And I was very pleasantly surprised that this seemed to go so smoothly. Again, like, they don't have a leadership ability helping them, so that is really worthwhile. And probably working a lot in my favor. So, they're done. And now we just have to clear ships. And that's it. Like, as long as we clear this board, we should be in good shape. So again, there's no executor here, which is huge. Obviously I want to Malevolence Thrawn. I think that is like the kind of safest option in terms of going against a Thrawn Empire fleet, especially when you know that they're probably going to have that TIE Interceptor on in there. So I figured I would do that, and I would take the TIE Fighter anyway because I don't need it for the Executor counter, obviously. So I would kind of leave my other ships intact for the other fleet battles that we have coming up. But pretty straightforward. So I like to go straight for the Imperial Bomber here. And I do the AoE and hope that I get offense down, which we did. And then I like to do the AoE again and get some buzzies out there, which we did. And then this TIE Interceptor comes in already, which is absolutely crazy. It is so fast. And it just hits so hard. It's just wild. Like, but I really want to shoot down this bomber. Like, at this point, I'm not feeling comfortable. Of course, we've got tons of dodges happening as per usual. But I need to get rid of this bomber at the very least. It is just ridiculous. So we've got one Insta Destroy off already, which is absolutely, like, this is just crazy. It is such a crazy fleet. And this ship will not die for the love of all that is holy. Just die. There we go. Okay, and now we can get rid of the Interceptor, hopefully, which would be great because we don't want that in play if we have to come back into this, if we need to clean up. Hopefully we don't, but if we do, this is just an absolute pain. Okay, so we've got the TIE Fighter, we've got Vader, and we've got the Reaper here. Honestly, out of the three, I just figured I would go for Vader. I had, I don't know, no real inclination. Another insta-kill, which is just, like, so many ultimates, and then death. Just death. So we do have to clean this up. Significantly less scary, though, without the Interceptor and the bomber there. So I'm going to let it sit. I need to figure out Finalizer and Rebels, but we're gonna let that sit because we don't want to tilt on ourselves here. So we're gonna do Finalizer here on Rebels, which is quite fun. I do like to take Special Forces TIE Fighter when I'm facing Rebels in the lineup instead of the Echelon, just so that I can call the assist right away, which you'll see. It's significantly, I found it to be smoother. So we're gonna hunt the Falcon, And then I like to do the basic raid away to see if we do land a stun. And then here with the special forces, you do his second special so that you can call the assist with Silencer. And Falcon's dead already, which is great. Like, this is how I like to see a Finalizer versus Rebels run go. Falcon being dead before it even takes a turn is absolutely beautiful. So, pretty straightforward. And I'm just going to pass as many turns as I can to the Silencer so that I can just try to get through this fleet, honestly, as quickly as possible, because I also am running out of time and I want to make sure I can clear that Thrawn fleet as well. So pretty straightforward, passing back to Silencer again. And because Silencer's had advantage every time I've done it, I've done the big hit if it's available, which is another reason why I like to pass turns to Silencer. I mean, it's pretty straightforward mechanic, I think, and it is so much fun, and his damage ramps, and it's beautiful. So really straightforward. Obviously going to call Silencer to assist, and we are done. So that's that. And now we have this Finalizer to go after 4-star Echelon in the lineup. So pretty... I'm not as scared of it because it is a 4-star Echelon. I can probably chew through it pretty quickly. So I am going to use my Rebels on Finalizer, which I always find this kind of amusing to me, is that I've used Finalizer to counter Rebels, and now I'm going to use Rebels to counter Finalizer. But that's just me being weird. So really straightforward. I do like to do the double tank because my Biston is still not up to snuff yet. And then I love having the Phoenix ship in there so that I can call it as a reinforcement right away and be able to call another reinforcement on my next capital ship turn, just to get as many ships out there as possible and honestly just have more control. So really straightforward, going to do the wiggle. I want to get rid of Silencer as soon as possible, because once you honestly get rid of Silencer, I found that you really take the legs away from this fleet. Like, Silencer is doing a lot of the damage, and sure, there is turn meter manipulation happening with the shuttle, but Silencer is the one that's doing the damage to your fleet. So I just like to get rid of it as soon as I can, if possible. Okay, so I'm going after the Echelon because it is, I mean, one, is taunting, but also it is the weaker ship. It's 4 stars, so I'm hoping that I can kill it relatively quickly here. And again, calling that Phoenix ship in so that my next capital ship turn, I'll be able to call a reinforcement again. So pretty clean here. And then doing the specials because we've got target lock on everyone. And back to Echelon. Calling Cassian in here. I am going to switch the targets because I'm going to call the Falcon to assist, and it feels like a waste on Echelon when I have a full health and almost full protection ship there that I could take out with the assist. So that's why I switched targets, and then we get a 72, so that's perfect, essentially. And now we have this Thrawn fleet, and again, I have to clear, so I'm going to use Raddus. I don't know if it will work, but I'm figuring worst case scenario, I can probably survive long enough and to get her ult off and then take in some stupid, weird Tarkin fleet. So we've got all the resistance ships, and I'm going to take Clone Sarge, and I'm going to take Jedi Consular, and I'm going to take Landino here. And I just want to survive, basically, is worst case scenario, survive, get her ultimate to destroy Thrawn's ship, so that if I have to go back in, I have enough ships to put some weird hodgepodge thing together and chew through these guys on the field here. But honestly, it's pretty clean. So we do the big hit on Vader with Poe, and the bomber is putting out that lovely little buff on everyone she hits, which is great. And there's just so many dodges with this fleet that it seems relatively smooth, to be honest. And it feels like I'll be able to survive long enough to get my ultimate off. And even if my fleet can't kill them, like at least I will kill Chimera, maybe. So we're gonna do the drive-by here with Falcon, which is fantastic. And Reaper is pretty much gone, and now he's gone. And then it's just TIE Fighter. So this is really smooth. I was really surprised with this. Absolutely love Raddus as a cleanup fleet. I think it's fantastic. And as you can see, that means we did get the full clear. All right, guys, so you can see we did manage to get the full clear. I absolutely had to full clear to win this, as you can tell from the score. So it was pretty happy to do that, especially with ships. And now we're off to the finals this week. So we will see what's in store for that one.